Hello, welcome back to our hyperautomation exam prep session for the practice exam. This is section 2 that we're going to cover now. So here we go. All right, section 2. Use Composer to automate integrations in a hyperautomation project. Okay, so as we're looking at it again, we want to come down to the area where it says which two options are available. Again, you're going to have a choose to. Watch it on those. Like I said, it's going to count either all or none. Okay. So which two options are available for use as the time mechanism within MuleSoft Composer? Okay. A time mechanism within MuleSoft Composer. So then we can come up here and read NTO wants to create an automation which runs on a fixed schedule to enter sales data into NetSuite, running as a process in the background. The business product owner chose MuleSoft Composer, and so the admin wants to advise the product owner about how the Composer scheduling functionality works. So this is the Composer scheduler. Composer scheduler. And any time I've taught this, I have pointed this out to you. There is not a cron option. The least amount is 15 minutes, but you do have the option of every 30 minutes and you have the option of every 30 days. Okay, so A and B are the correct answer. And if you want to verify that, it's going to be in Composer as the scheduler option at the top of what's going to trigger and start that flow. Okay. Next up, any airlines has a MuleSoft RPA. What? Sorry, I'm skipping away again. What is the output type of the response in MuleSoft Composer? The output type of the response in MuleSoft Composer. In this case. All right, so we're coming up here now. We're going to find out the details. Any airlines has an RPA process that automates the process of extracting payroll data from PDF files. It uses it to construct a JSON array. All right, so we're talking about a JSON array. In a Composer flow, there's an action step that invokes an RPA process and uses the response in the same flow. What is the output type of the response in the MuleSoft Composer? Okay, so we're talking about a JSON array. So is it a string? No. Is it an object? No. An object is a single item. Is it a map? No. It is called a list. Okay, it is called a list. A is the correct answer. All right. What is the allowed completion timeout period? I have also mentioned this in class a lot or even in coaching. And you don't know this, it's really not documented or written anywhere. Research it, find it. This is the allowed completion timeout period of an RPA process from Composer. From Composer. So RPA may be longer, allowing longer, but it's Composer is going to limit this. Okay, and it's none of these. It's 3 minutes. Just know that. 3 minutes. Composer will wait 3 minutes. If you get a scenario question on the exam that's a long story about this whole process and it takes this long and that long and everything, if all of that comes out to be more than 3 minutes, Composer is going to time out. And you can, and that's not, to my knowledge, anything that you can override and set at this time. And I say at this time because things do change. We're in an ever-changing industry. Okay. But for the exam's sake, that is the correct answer. All right. Next up, which Composer flow component must the sales team use to process all closed won opportunities? Okay. So let's see. The sales team at NTO uses Sales Cloud to manage and maintain opportunities. They use NetSuite Okay, so they're using NetSuite to create and fulfill sales orders. They use Composer to retrieve the closed one and generate the sales orders in NetSuite. Okay. So it's going to retrieve the closed one opportunities and create a sales order in NetSuite. How are they going to do that? How are they going to do that? An if else? A do while? Or for each? Okay, so the if else, there could be logic where you can say, if it closed, do this or whatever. These are really not the most efficient ways of doing those. The do while and the while, no. It is a for each in Composer. Okay, for each, and you can do all closed one opportunities. Okay. All right. Number 17. Number 17. Okay, my favorite thing to do, come here. Which condition in an if-else block in Composer allows them to avoid entering duplicate leads? Okay, which condition would allow us to avoid entering duplicate leads? Okay, so MuleSoft Composer. Using MuleSoft Composer, an employee of NTO automates lead entry into Salesforce. Okay, so using Composer, they want to automate the lead entries and wants to avoid duplicate leads. Using the get records action with a filter, they search for the lead to see if it matches any leads currently in Salesforce. Have y'all ever done this before? You want to check to make sure that that file doesn't exist. Okay. So here's one strategy. The number of records property from the Salesforce action equals 0. Number of records property from the Salesforce action equals 0. Okay. That's actually not the right answer. And it's going to give you back, you know, I don't know how that actually would play out. It might actually give you an error. Custom expression equals 0. No. Records found operator from Salesforce equals true. Well, if it found a record and it equals true, that's the record's there, but that's actually not how you manage it. And the list of records from Salesforce is empty. That is the correct answer. So if you go for the list of records from Salesforce and it is empty, that is the way to avoid a duplicate. That is the correct answer. Some of those other strategies, either they're not acceptable at all, but they would be logically in our brains seeming to work, but this is the one they're looking for. A is the correct answer. All right. This one is based on the functions used in Composer. And it's going to be really very simple to determine this answer, even if you don't, and you don't have to memorize all the functions. But let's see, Composer, what Composer function would be used to change the data type of the value? Okay, so we have any airlines using a MuleSoft Composer Flow integrating NetSuite with Salesforce. One of the data elements coming from NetSuite is a date that needs to be put into a string field in a Salesforce object. So you've got a date to string, right? Date to string. So which Composer? It's not from a string to a date, it's date to string. So that was pretty easy. That is A correctly. A is the correct answer. All right, next up, after executing a test case, where should the user review the outputs of the test? Okay, where should the user review the outputs of a test? Okay, so NTO uses Composer to push data from Salesforce, causes from Salesforce cases into Jira issues. Okay, so this is what Composer will do, and we're testing it. Okay, we're executing a test. And what we have it configured is to push data from Salesforce case into a Jira issue. After doing the test, where can we review the outputs of the test? MuleSoft Composer Flow detail page? No, there's not such a thing. The debug logs in Salesforce? No, that's not going to happen either. Okay, so it's going to be, you will look at the Jira location for the to see the results. So the targeted Jira location that we've configured here is going to be what you're looking for, and make sure that the data that you pushed into a Jira issue is actually there. Okay, so that is the solution, is going to be A. All right, and we're coming up to section 3. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I'm going to keep these separate so that it allows people to come in and target certain areas. So that's it for this one for right now. We'll be jumping into section 3. If you want to go to that one, just go ahead and click on to the next video.